Take a listen to this. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick run through of how to use LFO and shaper tools to add movement to your tracks. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll let you know how to download the free audio effect track that I've built around the LFO and shaper tools. Right, let's go. So here we are in Ableton Live, and this is the project that I've built up. I'm going to talk through each track one at a time. LFOs are absolutely everywhere in Ableton Live, pretty much in every instrument that comes with Live, but today specifically I'm going to talk about the individual LFO and shaper tools. So these are Max for Live devices, but they now come in Ableton. So first of all, we're going to look at this drum track, and this is my drum synth performance kit, which you can find in one of my previous videos. I go through how this was made. Right, so I'll get this playing now. So it's pretty basic, but you can see here, okay, so I've got this, I actually name my LFOs so I remember what each one is for. Basically in this rack I have a hi-hats LFO, a snare LFO and a clap LFO. So this one is specifically for the hats, which you can hear. So if I just solo out this open hat, all you do here is it's like a map button, and you can just choose where you want to map that to. So I have mapped this to the decay of the open hat. Okay, and here you can choose a minimum and maximum value. So I can go up to 100 and all the way down to 0 if I like. So, but for me, I like, that was my sweet spot there. And then you've got this like different shapes that you can choose from. So you can have the sine wave. You can see that's really affecting it, as obviously. And then you've got this rate control. But a lot of the time, I like to use random for things like hi-hats and things like that, and you've got this smooth control to smooth out the curve. So if I turn that right off, you can see how it's a lot more like jittery. You've got, in fact, you have this jitter control. So you do this, yeah, you can see, and you've got your depth control here, which controls the depth of the LFO modulations, how much it's going to apply. If you turn it all the way off, basically no modulation has been applied by the LFO. If you turn it all the way up, there you go. You got your phase and sort of like a momentary hold. So there you go. Turn it off, turn it on, you can see what happens there. Another thing to remember is you've got this multi-map menu here, and you can map up to 8 things from the one LFO device. So I could say, okay, I'm going to also map the pitch. And you can hear the effect that that's having. So that one LFO can control multiple things. I'll just undo that and forget about that. So yeah, that's how it's affecting the drums. That's the drum track. Right, next up I've got this sort of, what's it, a hand snare track. I'll play it and let you hear it. Obviously I've added a bit of echo, here it is without. And I've got this LFO controlling this auto filter, so it's just controlling the frequency knob here. Again, I've set it to a random 16th note, quite similar to what I had on the drum track. Turn it off. Just adds a little bit more movement there. I've not smoothed this one out, and I set it between 0 and 53, so you can see what happens if I turn it all the way up to 100%. But I liked it with, you can hear that in context with the drum track, which I think sounds pretty cool. And now if I bring in the bass, solo that out. Now on this track I just used the LFOs that are built into the analog device here. So like I say, LFOs are absolutely everywhere within Ableton Live. The best thing to do is to just get in there and try it out. So for instance, see I'm adjusting LFO 2 here on this filter number 2 within like analog is a really simple and device. A lot of the time with analog I'll just start off with no preset and just go from scratch and get in here and mess around with things. So like, okay, like the filter, what else can I do? Yeah, but when you hear that alongside, say, the drum, again, yeah, I think that sounds pretty cool. The next one I'm going to talk about is pluck track. So yeah, it might look like there's quite a lot going on here, but first of all, what I'll do is I'll turn everything off. So that's all the LFOs off. I'll turn this reverb off. So these devices are from Fors, which I've done a few videos on. You can check those out on my channel. So you've got this dot device. It's like a step sequencer type. So, and I've also added this, what is this called? Low octave. It's just one of the MIDI effect devices which comes built into Live. I'll let you hear it. So that's as is. Not a lot going on there, but when I start adding these LFOs in, so this one is controlling the density of dot. See, this is why I name my LFOs, and the reason I sometimes have multiple LFOs is because I want them to do different things. Yeah, I could use the multi-map mode and have this one LFO controlling multiple things, but sometimes I want different LFO rates happening to different things to add more variation, and it works really well. So I've got this one is controlling the density of the dot, so you can hear it without and then with, okay. And this one is controlling pluck. I'll turn this on. So it's controlling the position and the intensity, so you can see things are starting to move around here. Yeah, and it just adds a bit of a new dimension. I'll turn on this reverb here. Next of all, we have this, well, I'll turn on this one. This is which I've also done a video on. It's probably one of my favourite plugins of the last year or so. It's called Scatter by a company called Sound Ghost. And if I turn this on, that's basically, it's like a grain shifting reverb / delay. Pretty cool. And then I've added this shaper, which is adjusting the pluck decay. If I turn all the reverbs off again, but with everything combined, it sounds pretty cool. So add that along with the drums. You can see there's enough interesting things happening, and that's just two tracks. So the last one I'm going to show you, what was this? This was another Ableton preset, MPE Airy Pad and sub. Yeah, so I'll show you it without any LFOs, but this one I've used the shaper tool on. So here's what the track sounds like on its own. Quite just like a sort of lush and deep pad sound, if you like, and then but adding the shaper transforms it completely. So here we go. can change the shape in here. So like you've got this shape, which completely changes what you hear. So these are just presets. You can get in there and draw your own shapes. Which is really cool. And you can obviously you can change the rate. It's really cool, but I liked this. Just again, like I always say, you don't need to know every single detail of what's going on. It's like the best way is to, and this is where this little help box, the info box in Ableton Live comes in really handy. Just hover over something and it tells you, okay, right, this one controls the depth of the LFO modulation. Right, let me try this. Okay, yes, that's basically dampening down the effect. Got it. That's the way to do everything, I think. Just get in there, try it out. And then I added this LFO, which was controlling the offset. So it just, like it tells you here, it's shifting the center point of the LFO waveform. Just adding that extra bit of randomness to that. So I've got the shaper controlling, just the filter cutoff. What else? I've got this one is controlling that offset, and it's also controlling the reverb dry wet. So easy to do. And if you hear this in context with some of the other tracks, bring in the bass. Bring in the snare. You can see I've not even really got that far yet. We're still very much in loop stage, but because there's enough going on, I could easily build this up into a full track. And I'll bring in the kick and this one definitely feels like it's got the makings of something. I'm going to jump into another Ableton Live project now and talk you through a modulation rack that I've built. Okay? Right, so here we are in my new project here, so I'll let you hear what I've got playing first. So I've got this track soloed out. I'll turn off all the modulation. A real basic analog synth sound. Again, it was like no preset used, but if I turn on the modulation rack, which I've built here, and this is available to download for free in the description. So auto pans, shapers, a few different LFOs, so like a different sort of presets. So I've got like a sine LFO, a few random LFOs going at different rates, and this pad chopper, which is actually a preset within Ableton Live's the audio effects racks, and a reverb and just a utility. So, and this is a really great thing to do if you find yourself using effects over and over, or things like LFOs. It's good to just group them all together, save them, and you've got this rack that you've made, and you can just use this over and over. So this is kind of what I do. What would be kind of like, it was a bit of a boring sound, so this chop device, basically an auto pan. If I turn the reverb off a bit, see, it's really easy, especially if you've got push or any other MIDI controller. You can be doing this, getting really hands-on. But the one I do like is this. It's this pad chopper. And you can actually add like the root key. So this track's in E minor, so I've set this to E, and you can change this just by controlling that macro knob there. If you turn that all the way up, it totally transforms, which was pretty lifeless, but now, yeah, I love using these things. And then add this chop back in again. You can have a bit of a mix and match of these things. You can see how quickly you can transform one sound. You know, obviously, and you could duplicate this and layer things up. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was just a quick introduction to some of the devices. Again, nothing too intense. So again, like I always say, the best way to learn is just to get in there and try things. So drag those LFOs onto your tracks, try it out. But if you get down into the description below, remember and grab your free download. That will get you started. Give the video a like and subscribe. And thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.